Hello, everybody. Welcome to my presentation about accelerate your network using GenAI. And you saw it already tomorrow, I think, the new Project Cypress. First of all, to introduce myself, I'm Marc from the Logt from PQR. It's also part of the Backlog group, and I'm doing some stuff with cloud native, SDDC, and things like Tanzu Vanguard and vExpert and that kind of stuff. But let's go into first of all how an attacker infiltrates your organization. We see in the past a lot more attacks based on ransomware attacks. We see the Ukraine war, Russian attackers, which are still getting physical infrastructure in Ukraine being attacked, and we see that still more and more. And this is a little bit of the agenda, but this is the slide which I needed to show you. And the traditional way of networking does not work anymore. So just a traditional firewall, that does not work anymore. And also you see still more the tools of AI, voice messages and emails, which are trying to, someone's manager is talking to them and saying you need to click and there on, and then malware gets in. And we saw 3 years ago, we saw Apache Log4j that took a lot of overhead to our IT admins. So they needed to patch everything in Apache, and a lot of things were in Apache. We could have prevented this with the vDefense solutions of NSX. So that's which is going on. But first of all, who of you are familiar with this framework, the MITRE ATT&CK framework? Hands, please. Okay, 2, 3, 4, yeah, right. This framework gives at least people to know at which stage a hacker is in infiltrating an organization. For example, a set of techniques and tactics, TTPs, and that's what's going on here. And to show you all the phases, these are here. And that starts with the reconvenience. And that's just, for example, doing some port scans. Port scans to infiltrate with, for example, NAPP, to see if we can infiltrate in a file server using SMB. That kind of stuff. But things I want to highlight is things like lateral movement. Lateral movement, we're seeing that perimeter, which I just gave you as an example. That perimeter, if a hacker is in that perimeter and breaks through that, he can laterally move. And you will later on see that the vDefense solutions of NSX will help you with that. So also gaining persistency. Gaining persistency in an environment. For example, VDI. You have non-persistent VDI, you reboot it, it's gone. But this stage will represent gaining persistency there. And also, if I am a domain admin, and I'm going to privilege escalation, that's phase, this phase, and I'm having mine account hacked, and I will simulate and show you that later on, then you get mine account, and I'm a domain admin, then you can go everywhere. And that's what privilege escalation does. And command and control is also very at the end of the stages. And I have the other stuff is also here, so the later stages at the right side. And impact, that's when you get a screen and everything is black, and hackers are asking you for your Bitcoin wallet and you have ransomware inside. That's basically how this works. And this is just a process to give you a framework to see where you are, where a hacker is. So firstly, introducing the vDefense solutions, which was familiar, the NSX security services. So we are starting here, and that's of course on VMs, on physical servers, on containers, and multi-cloud all the way. And it starts with just a distributed firewall. Are anyone familiar with the capability of microsegmentation and zero trust? So just letting some workload not go from left to right and to segment all your ports. Then you get the gateway firewall. And that gateway firewall is instantiated in NSX. And I hope you guys here are a little bit familiar with NSX on a tier 0 or a tier 1 gateway. So there, and it requires also a component, and it's called an edge node. So that's what the gateway firewall is doing. On top of that, you have the advanced threat prevention services, which are IDS, IPS, both distributed for East-West and also for North-South. You have the malware prevention. I will show you this malware prevention in a live demo later on. You have the NTA, the sandbox feature, and all that comes together in the NDR solution, network detection and response. And on top of that, we have our security intelligence to get your rules, your microsegmentation rules automated, your unprotected flows. And that's all powered by AI threat analytics from the cloud. See if it's going next. Yeah. But how as an organization, how will you start using these capabilities? First of all, this requires a really good grouping and tagging strategy to achieve step 1, network and app segmentation. And not only apps in traditional applications, but also in Kubernetes clusters. And to talk about Kubernetes clusters that are not only TKG clusters from Tanzu, that could also be a vanilla Kubernetes cluster where I register the Andrea CNI in that Kubernetes cluster. I register it as a container cluster into NSX and achieve microsegmentation on that part. So this is step 1, but that requires a good grouping and tagging strategies. You start with your infrastructure services. Active Directory, DHCP, file services. You start to group them together and do that tag-based. Second, everyone in this organization has a development environment, an acceptance, a test, a production environment. Group those assets together. Group those assets together, put them together, and you need automation capabilities inside there. So I recommend you use the NSX Intelligence feature and use also tools like Area Automation and Ansible, Terraform, that kind of tools. So if you have achieved your grouping tagging strategy and you have, for example, security intelligence, you have that view and that visibility to gather all those unprotected rules and to say, hey, I want recommendations for these groups. Tell me which flows are unprotected. And you can put them in a recommendation, and by automation, it gets into the API and it gets into the distributed firewall, and you segment it. Step 2 is really important. Now that's why the example Apache Log4j comes into play. This IDS-IPS solution, it connects with a cloud analysis, and this has all known hashes. So also the vulnerability of Apache Log4j, but also sorts of vulnerabilities. So it can prevent you, it can detect or prevent an exposure to being exposed. So for example, a Citrix NetScaler, if you have that in your environment and you get a vulnerability in your Citrix NetScaler, then you can simply set an IDS-IPS rule on that, and yeah, then you can wait for the patching, because, or you can schedule that later on. You don't have that pressure on you. And that's very important. And that was with Apache Log4j, for example, really important. Because all those IT admins wanted to patch, you could simply deploy a rule and set that through and take patience and carefully plan all those assets. Step 3, and then we talk about the NTA and sandboxing and NDR solutions. And those solutions are protecting you for unknown things that are unknown, both local cloud analysis and cloud analysis. So all suspicious movement will be detected. So these are all these features, but a really important feature here that runs on top for those ATP services, Advanced Threat Prevention, is NSX Application Platform. Are there people which are using NSX for a while? Right. Who of you used it, NSX 2, T2, 3 version? NSX Intelligence, for example, did the thing. That was an OVA-based deployment. But how do you get VMware at a certain moment with version 3.2, NSX VMware introduced NAPP, which is a Kubernetes-based deployment. So all those services, IDS, IPS, NTA, Network Sandbox, those are run on top of NAPP. But how do you get your flows from 3.1 to further on, which is now NSX 4 is already there, that you can migrate that with the things like, which are already get introduced, like, for example, not all IT admins have Kubernetes experience. So you have now, for example, the NSX automation appliance, which gets the automation done. So you don't stick with a manual Kubernetes deployment. That could be TKGS, but that could also be a vanilla Kubernetes. So let's see what we have more. So my clicker does this work. Yeah. So to dive a little bit deeper into the IDS feature, like I said, known-based signatures, behavior-based detection, that kind of capabilities, both distributed east-west and north-south. And also that malware prevention service is there too. But that malware prevention service requires you to deploy in the distributed way, to deploy some SVMs. And I will demo that. And I will also show you why I don't have malware prevention enabled on my NSX Edge nodes. I will show you that. So NTA, looking for anomalous, suspicious traffic, which is not there. The NDR solution, you must see IDS, IPS, NTA, all come together at your NDR. And you have campaigns there from IDS, IPS, from malware prevention, and all things get correlated there. And that's really cool. So I talked a little bit about the NSX Application Platform. And you see here a little bit of the architecture, leveraging that NSX Intelligence, again, which was previously in the OVA-based deployment. Leveraging malware prevention and IDS, IPS, both east-west, north-south. And yeah, like I said, NSX Intelligence really reduces your time to value for your SOC engineer to implement those rules. And these are a little bit the steps about investigating and doing some triage and to finally remediate your stuff. So we did talk about the processes, the Mid Attack framework, right? We did talk about the technologies, the vDefend, but the most important thing we didn't talk about, and that's the people. The people who need to analyze a bunch of logs and SIEM SOC systems like Splunk. And that's really intensive to analyze that. And if you have the tools, which gives you the visibility to analyze that and doing proper triage and doing proper automatic remediation, that is really cool. And you see a lot of those SOC engineers nowadays with traditional tools looking for suspicious things and a bunch of logs, which is time consuming, takes a lot of stress on that SOC engineer. And another problem, what I want to address regarding to the people, we have our network guys, because NSX is networking and security. But our network and security teams are in a lot of traditional organizations, and it's not all for you guys, so don't bother. A lot of things which are going on is that the network is here on the left side, and the security is on the right side, which brings us a little bit of silo in there. And that's not what you want. You want those teams to team together, to have a single interface, single pane of glass to do a proper triage and put in that automatic remediation there. So, and that's what you get, frustration on both ends, network and security. And that's not what you want in your organization. So, so we have covered people, process, and technology. So that's magnificent. So then I want to introduce you, and you saw it if you have looked closely at the general session tomorrow. Joe Bagley did a little bit of a slide preview of that intelligent assist, which is called Project Cypress. Project Cypress is a Chrome extension, and it helps you with getting insights into your campaigns in your NDR solution. And you can ask, for example, a junior SOC engineer who doesn't have all knowledge about the Mid Attack framework, the solutions, NDR, and that kind of stuff. You can ask the chatbot for assistance, for, okay, what's going on? And how can I remediate? So improvement in triage, explain alerts, and create your remediations. That's what happened. And this is before, so this is the NDR solution, the threat detection and response. This before Project Cypress. So you have all individual campaigns, which is all coming from NTA, IDS, IPS, and that's really cool. And what you see that Mid Attack framework back again to see which campaign, what the hacker is doing there in that campaign. And the chatbot, the intelligent assist, you can ask that intelligent assist to, yeah, what is going on in campaign, this campaign ID? and he gives to you, oh, this guy is doing a command and control action in my RDP on port 3389, for example. And that's that kind of stuff you can ask to the chatbot. So how does it look when I implement Project Cypress? Then it gets correlated. It gets correlated, and you have just a simple Chrome extension, which, of course, there is a whole bunch of backend. A whole backend at Google Cloud Platform, at Azure, which is delivering the large language model and the PG vector kind of stuff, which is delivering these capabilities. But it's running on your own data, in your own data center. And this is how this works. You can drop it out, and it says, OK, techniques, and procedures. This is going on. There's a crypto wall. There's a malicious file download. It's 3 times these assets. And which MITRE attack frameworks is the hacker in? He's here very far in the stage of being an exploit being run onto your environment. If he's here, yeah, he's just knocking on the door and doing some port scans. So you have that visibility, what you want as a SOC engineer. And this is how the architecture looks. But there is a mistake in this picture. But this picture, if you look closely, we are already on NSX 4.2.1, and here's NSX 4.1. So here you see the backend infrastructure. There are a lot of knowledge sources, like CVEs and that kind of stuff. This Chrome extension is doing the backend, so it's accessing a URL, which goes to an API gateway, and goes finally to an ingress controller, which is, of course, all cloud native. And finally, that data is stored in a Postgres PG vector database. Only here, you see Azure. You see the GPT model. It's not GPT anymore. I saw that on several pictures from the guys from former Lastline, which was the acquisition which integrated this whole stuff. It is Gemini now from Google. So the large language model being used is Gemini. So how does that look like? You enable the intelligent assist simply by one click, and you get your chatbot. The intelligent assist is being enabled. OK, it's being enabled. So what are we doing here? We open up a campaign, and we see what's going on here. You saw this already. There's something also going on with the RDP protocol, and you have a stoplight, red, orange, green, so you can do properly triage. Where are my, can you explain me this? Can you explain me this campaign? So OK, I will go and check this, and there's something going on there. So how does this attack happen? OK, there's a VDI workload there. The anomalous behavior was first started at a VDI workload, some beacon activity. So what's impacted? OK, this asset is impacted. So OK, that's good. I've analyzed this. I did triage. But show me the remediation options. What can I do about it? OK, you can do several things. I can bring the workload offline. What would you like to do? Would you like to do the stop command and control action? OK, I will do that. Generating the response. What do we need to implement? And then you get those IDS IPS rules. And you see exactly the source destination, the signature, which is getting exposed there. So yeah, I want this. OK, go ahead. And that's pretty cool. This is pretty amazing. And you want to check the rule which I just implemented? Go to the security section and go to IDS IPS rules. For junior SOC engineers, this is really fantastic because they often don't have the knowledge what senior SOC engineers have. So this is really cool. This was the end, but I won't let you go without a live demo. And that's what I'm going to show you behind my keys, my keyboard, and not a chair, but I'm standing here. So you can contact me, and I want to thank you, but I will escape the presentation. So I'm going, and I hope are there some Workspace ONE guys in the audience? Happy to say that because I'm logging in Citrix now, so hope you don't bother me, guys. Still need to log in. And I've got a couple of tons of fingers. Yeah, and I'm already logged out. You're looking at a VCF 5.2.1 environment from Team PQR. This is the SDDC manager. I hope you're all a little bit familiar with VCF, VMware Cloud Foundation. This is VCF 5.2.1. And you see already a cool link, a little bit off topic, but there is a security capability in that AVI. I use that AVI integration in VCF 5.2.1, and it was implemented 21 minutes. The control plane was implemented, and I have my certificate management and my password rotation automated by the SDDC manager. A little bit off topic, but a cool capability of that AVI load balancer is, of course, the web application firewalling, which is also a security thing. This is my consolidated fees for client. You see already here some SVMs, and I told you I needed those SVMs for my malware prevention. And I have here some Kubernetes stuff. So TKG is running here with my supervisors and my edge nodes there. So that's really cool. But let's look at the NSX part. And I have toolless triage information, so don't bother me for that. We're going to refresh it. And we have installed, and I first wanted to show you what makes up NAPP, NSX Application Platform. So what makes that up? I'm going to System, I'm going to NSX Application Platform, and I see here my platform. I have an evaluation form factor, so I have just one control plane node and one worker. That's great for demo environments because a lot of CPU and memory is going, and storage is going into this. So you get that NAPP, and you see that I've already activated those advanced threat prevention tools. My metrics are there, my intelligence are there, my NDR service and my malware prevention are all there. And I can click and go to that interface. And that's, but let's go a little bit off topic. And I have 3 minutes, and I need to be quick. This is how it looks like. These are all pods. This is my Kubernetes environment. I have Contour, which is an ingress controller. I have Redis. I have, when I go further on top, this is a pretty big environment. And I'm also going to show you the AVI load balancer. Because I use this one, and you see my VIPs. You know why this is 50%? Because Karma went in tomorrow. My lab environment was down. And I had some colleagues from the VMware, my Kafka was out of storage. So I repaired that, and I had some assistance for Sean. He's at the Tanzu platform, so big applause for that. So my load balancers for my Kafka are here at 50% at healthy status. So that's what happened here. So let me show you some exploit on my Kali Linux. Imagine that someone did a privilege escalation attack on my account. I'm domain admin. And someone wants to hijack my account. He knows my password. And this is what happens. He knows my credentials. So you see what happens here? It freezes. It tries to get an SMB hack. It wants to set an executable there and start a service. But it hangs. And you know why it hangs? Because I got this malware prevention service here. And you see here the time. I need to go to the timestamp. It's 3:20. It's the timestamp for now. It's my team IAS server. And it's an executable there. And you see blocked. It's blocked. Yeah, that's right. It's blocked. So that's what the malware prevention service does. So when a hacker tries to do some malicious activity, an SMB hack, for example, you have an old server with SMB version 1, it could be exposed because it's really legacy. What I still wanted to show you is the NDR solution. And I have just one campaign because I had two less malware in my environment. So I cannot generate those things. But here's one campaign, and I cannot show you Project Cypress, unfortunately, and live, because it's still tech preview. And I already encouraged with the vDefend guys from VMware and to be the first one to get that thing. But this is your malicious file, and you see here, it gets correlated. This attack has already taken place at my certificate authority server here. And it's a lateral movement because it went from this one to this one. And that is what happened. So yeah, I see 30 minutes on the clock. I can talk for hours, and I can show you the whole package. Yeah, I hope this was really helpful for you to at least get your SOC together, get your network team embraced, and do something with the vDefense solutions of VMware. I want to talk I want to thank the Tanzu guys for helping me break fix this lab again, so I can show you to us. And thank you all.